Good morning, everyone. This is Pastor Dave here giving you your Monday morning sermon recap. Yesterday we looked at Ephesians chapter 3, verse 1 to 13, and opened up our morning by looking at redemptive history from the perspective of an angel, and then delved into our passage where we saw that God's plan, both in Paul's day and in our day as well, is to reach all the nations through the gospel and through local churches that are planted as a result of the gospel being proclaimed throughout the world. And we saw that the local churches are now God's primary vehicle through which he nurtures people in the faith, and how Paul looked at this and thought that this was a glorious plan of God to work in this way. And we also just looked at how not only do we look on what God is doing, but the angels and demonic forces of the heavens are looking down as well and see God's manifold wisdom in and his glorious plan in all this, and just really stand in awe of what God is doing through local churches scattered throughout the world and the way that he's reaching people through them. And then we also asked the question, what might be holding us back from delighting in God's plan to reach all nations through local churches, and even hold us back from loving our local church the way that we might. And you might come up with other thoughts. The two things that I suggested that might be part of our struggle would be, first of all, a hesitancy on our part to sacrifice. And I just talked about how by nature we love those things for which we make the greatest sacrifices. And so if we want to love our local church even more, then probably the best way to build in our own hearts a greater love for the local church is to ask the Lord how we might sacrifice to love our local church and to love the people in our local church even more, believing that as we make those sacrifices, that like Paul, who suffered greatly for the church, a love for the church will grow in our hearts as well. The other thing I mentioned is that many of us have dealt with saying a lot of goodbyes, and it's one of the harsh realities of our day is that we say goodbye often to people we love, and that can make us weary and tired of building close relationships only to have that person leave our everyday circumstances and no longer be accessible to us. And so, but the only cure to that issue is not to kind of develop a life of being superficial and friendly, but not really open to deeper relationships with people that will actually lead to loneliness. But instead, we have to just take the risks of building relationships with people again, and going deeper with people, knowing that we really don't know how long that person will be close to us, and how long that person will be readily accessible to us as a friend. But that's really the only solution to going deeper with one another and really building deeper community within our church. So anyway, hope you were all blessed, and I personally look forward to hearing from Pastor Kyle again this coming week, and I hope you're all blessed as you process the message in city groups this week too. Thanks so much.